Yo, what is good YouTube? Today we are back once again with another Pokemon Scarlet and Violet VGC video, and in today's video we're going to be looking at 6 rental teams I've created with the help of some of my friends ever so graciously giving me some advice, and one of them in particular giving us a team that he has created for us to share with everyone. So before we jump into it, I just want to say yes, massive shout out to Winterknight. He has given us one of his teams, and then also Jonzu and Coco for Days, two of my mates who have obviously helped me throughout this journey of creating these teams. Now boys, these are 6 teams that I think are going to be very, very good on the Regulation C ladder, something that you can take straight into and I think win, get to Master Ball. Of course, that is what we're all here for. So if you could boys, obviously like, comment, subscribe, it means the world to me. Show me the support, and of course tell me how you go with the teams. I want to hear your stories, if there's any modifications you guys made, all that good stuff. But anyway boys, let's jump into these teams. Alright boys, so the first team we're looking at here is my Chien-Pao Dragapult team. This is one of my absolute favorite teams at the minute. This is a team I brought a couple weeks ago to a tour. I modified it since just to make it a bit more a bit better into the meta. As you can see here, we have obviously the Dragonite, the Dragapult Chien-Pao, which is the main combo for this team. Chien-Pao running a pretty standard set here. It's just the Sucker Punch, Ice Spinner, Segras, or Protect with the Focus Sash. This Dragapult a bit different to the last one I ran, which was Banded. This is a Terra Steel, Dragon Dance, Dragon Darts, Fenneforce set. This is basically paired up with the Amoonguss to try to basically try to get that +1 attack and then sweep from there. We do have a couple other really good mods on this team. Arzu is another mod I've been loving lately with Chien-Pao. This mod just hits so damn hard. If you go Terra Water with that Aqua Jet next to Power, it does absolutely ridiculous damage. Volcarona is another mod I put on this team simply just to give us a second setup option. If it's a game where maybe Polt, doesn't look that great, or if it's a, if I'm in a situation where maybe, they feel like my Arzu, my Polt, my Pow, even my Fluttermane are more threatening, maybe Volcarona can get up that Quiver Dance and just really sweep through. And then just to round out the team, we have Fluttermane. I think Fluttermane is really good. It's super splashable. You'll probably notice it's on a lot of these teams. And as I said before, Amoonguss, we do have the Clear Smog on this set, as it is our best answer to the Dondozo, but it is honestly just a very standard Amoonguss spread that is basically there to one, help us set up, 2, redirect so our hard hitters can get some attacks off, and then 3, it's just a fantastic mon, one of the best ones in the game right now. But yes, this is my Chien-Pao Dragapult team, definitely one of my favorite teams to play with right now. Alright, so up next here, we do have a bit more of a toxic team here, and this is the Woe Glamora team, as I like to call it. This team is not fun to play against. This is one of those teams that is very, very frustrating to deal with. And if your opponent is not running hyper offense, the Woe Chen plus Glamora combo paired up with the Dozo, it will just run straight through. As you can see here, we have the Woe Chen with the leftovers, the Leech Seed, Pollen Puff, Foul Play. Leech Seed is just so good at basically just allowing this mon to just live infinitely alongside the leftovers. Pollen Puff is fantastic for keeping your allies healthy. And then this Glamora set is a very interesting one. A lot of people obviously lately are running Toxic Debris. Obviously, Toxic Debris is really good on this mon. For those who don't know, every time you get hit by a physical attack, you drop Toxic Spikes on the enemy side. But recently, I have found one of the biggest answers to Glamora is people running Terra Poison on their Woe Chen and their Tinglu. As you can see here, my Woe Chen is Terra Poison too. And then on top of that, Amoonguss is just so good right now. It's also great at swapping into 1, eat the Mortal Spin, and 2, soak up the Toxic Spikes. So with this set here, 1, with the Corrosion, we can poison them with our Mortal Spin, and then 2, we do just have the Toxic Spike here because we are very bulky. It is something that we want to get down naturally anyway. And Spiky Shield paired up with Citrus Berry is just so good on this one. If you can poison something, especially physical attackers, you can just wall them out. Then we do have a very bulky Dondozo set here. This is a rest set with Lumberry. We got Wave Crash and Earthquake just because they're both really good. And Terra Steel just because it's a fantastic defensive typing. Tatsugiri here is a more supportive set. It is max with this Focus Sash, but having the option for Taunt is really, really good. And then in the back, it's just the the Flutterfish here. Just such a strong offensive combo that really helps the defensive lines, right? If my opponent leads something that is potentially too overpowering for either the Nozo or the Woe Glim setup, having the option to go something just as offensive and really put pressure on my opponent is really, really nice. I think it's a great way to round out this team, which otherwise is normally very slow pace. Alright, so this team here is the team passed to us by the homie Winterknight. Now, I know he has been raving on and on about this team to me in DMs, telling me how good it is. And on paper, this team looks fantastic. If you have a look at it here, it has Slitherwing, one of my personal favorite of the Paradox mons, but it just doesn't see enough play, just like due to its speed probably being a little low, but its offensive power is insane. And first impression right now into the Ruin mons is absolutely absurd. Also, its close combats as well, its bug moves, it's just fantastic into the format right now. I do think this is a very slept on mon. I think Terrifier with Flame Charge is just perfect on this thing, and getting its special defense up with that AV is fantastic. But The main core of this team here, as you can see, is a snow team. Now, this is the Abomasnow plus Iron Bundle. Now, one thing I love about this team is it does have two different forms of speed control, right? You have the Icy Wind obviously coming out of the Iron Bundle, but you also have Corviknight's Tailwind. But this team having some really, you know, defensive sets helps out a lot, because if you look at this team, right, our Chi-Yu and our Flood are actually very bulky and not that quick, but with having both Tailwind and Icy Wind, it really does support them nicely. And then on top of that, having a Chi-Yu and an Iron Bundle on the board at the same time if snow is up is insane. If you can get some Beads of Ruin Blizzards off, it's absolutely wild. Hitting both mods is fantastic. Obviously Abomasnow does have the Aurora Veil there as well, which is like just again fantastic support. And then again, our Chi-Yu and our Fluttermane are both quite bulky on this team, which is really nice. It's just fantastic. If you get screens up, if you're able to get the speed control, it just these two mods go in. It's just so much offensive power on the special end. It's crazy. And then to round it out, it is our Corviknight here. This Corviknight's main job is to either sit there and click bulk up. It gets up the Tailwind. It can just sit there forever with Roost. It's fantastic into opposing Iron Bundles with the Mirror Herb. Also into Intimidate. Intimidate is on the rise, obviously, with a lot of these Power Knights running around. Really is trying to force the D-Knights into the inner focus, but a lot of people do on multi-scale. And yeah, it's just a fantastic team. This team is, like, really on paper, it's unreal. It's very good bulk. It's very strong offensively too. It's a team I'm super excited to get in some videos with this. I really can't wait. All right, so this one here is the Palafin Balance team. Now, this is without a doubt probably my favorite of these teams, maybe right next to that Dragapult team we showed at the very start of the video. This team is one I think is going to have a lot of potential. I think Palafin, as always, it's good. It just gets better. If you just look at the format, it is really good to, I think, basically all the ruin ones, at least 3 of the 4. The only one that it doesn't really like is Wo Chen, but again, you can run CC and that matchup's probably fine. But if you look at the team here, this team is basically set around having the Palafin and the Baxcalibur just go crazy. You've got Arcanine for Intimidate support, you've got Tinglu for special defense support, you've got the Amoonguss for redirection, and just side Pollen Puffs, because both these mons are naturally pretty bulky. And then to round it out, we have the Fluttermane. As I said earlier, this mon is just so splashable. It's just, like, honestly, it's unreal. Fluttermane is just... It's really good. But again, we said Arcanine, it's there for the Intimidate to support. It also has the Will-O-Wisp, and an interesting thing too that I think we're probably going to see pick up a bit is the Morning Sun. I think Arcanine's biggest issue right now is it kind of sits on the board. It clicks like 1 Flare Blitz, 2 Flare Blitz, and then like people kind of just ignore it, and it just sits there like killing itself. Where with Morning Sun, you know, you can get off a Flare Blitz, eat a hit, and then just Morning Sun back to full. Especially true if you do get the Will-O-Wisps out against a pretty physically offensive team. You can kind of just like Willow, and then like Morning Sun Blitz, and it's just really good. Tinglu, another mon. We haven't played around with Tinglu too much recently. This mon is just absurd. Defensively, it's ridiculous. Again, it's got that Terra Poison because it's fantastic. It's really good into Glamora. Obviously, I think Glamoras we will start to see them run a bit more corrosion because of it. But again, this is so standard. It's got that Stomping Tantrum, which is fantastic. It will almost always one-shot the Chi-Yus, especially if they don't Terra. And again, on this team too, I'm running very offensive Tinglu. It's got near max attack Adamant. We have the Heavy Slam, which is really good into the Fluttermanes, allows us to one-shot those. We have the Fish Up, because Fisher spam is just cheese, man. Like, honestly, on a mon that's this tanky, when you've got stuff like Amoonguss, you've got Arcanine, you've got ways to, you know, stall out the opponent and kind of extend the game. If you can click Fisher 8 times, you're probably going to connect on 2 of them, and if you connect on 2 Fishes, you probably just won the game. As we said, Fluttermane, super splashable. This one, it honestly does it all. It's fast. It hits really hard. With Terra Fairy, Dazzling Gleam, this one's just, it's insane. It really is. And then Baxcalibur, we mentioned at the start, it is the other offensive mon on this team. I love Bax, and I love having it on a team like this where it just has so much support. Basically, you just can't kill Baxcalibur, and then it's going to one-shot you. It's going to snipe you with Ice Shards. This one, fantastic. I'm so excited to get in a video or 2 with this team. I really can't wait. Alright, and so the 5th team here. So for anyone who's been around the channel lately, you have seen me running the team I like to call the Ironfish. It's essentially Flutterfish with the Iron Jugulus. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think Iron Jugulus right now is the best Tailwind setter in the game, and I think Bulky Chew with Nasty Plot might be its best set, or at least it's definitely my favorite of the sets. I think all sets are fantastic. The Spec set, the Life Orb set, the Scarf set, they're all really good. I just love Wikiberry with Nasty Plot. It is my go-to set. And again, Flutterfish, Iron Jugulus, you put Tailwind up, these mons go absolutely insane. But some adjustments I have made from the previous team is I've slapped some physical attackers on, mainly 2 fighting types. This team's biggest weakness was always the The Ting Lu, obviously having 2 fighting types is really good against it. If it terrors, we have the Great Tusk there with those headlong rushes, which is absolutely absurd damage. And I also really like Mouse Hold next to my bulky Chiyu. Having it next to the Amoonguss was obviously nice to help me get up the other nasty plots. But now we obviously with the what do you call it? With the Friend Guard, Chiyu becomes that little bit bulkier. We can maybe live some attacks that we couldn't when we had Amoonguss as our partner, which allows us to get our berry off and start sweeping. So yeah, absolutely fantastic team. Obviously, we have the Mouse Ape, a combo that I haven't really touched on in the last couple of weeks, but I do think is an absurdly good combo into Series 3. And then yeah, obviously we said Great Tusk. Not much else I can really say about it. I brought this one to OCIC. I love Great Tusk. This one, especially in Tailwind with Iron Jugulars, that was another big reason why I wanted to bring Tusk into this team. I just think Jugulars wanted a partner that wasn't Glamora, and as much as I loved Glamora on the original team, you know, I've already got 2 teams with Glamora, so I thought, you know what, let's shake it up a bit. Let's get Grace Tusk in here, and yeah, just let him do his thing, because that fighting stab right now into the Ruin Mons is absolutely absurd. It's also a mon that can tank both the offensive attacks coming out of the Power Knight. With Tailwind too, you can threaten one-shots onto Fluttermane and Chiyu. Just, yeah, fantastic team. I really love this team. Again, I know I've said it with 2 of the other teams, but I'm so excited to play this team. Like, I love it. It's probably going to be the team I take into the day 1 ladder. And yeah, I'm just super excited for it. All right, and boys, last but not least, the scariest team in this builder. Yes, I am so scared of this team when the ladder comes out. I have a friend who originally showed me this team, at least a variant of this team. Then when I was playing on ladder around 1700, I ran into this team a lot from a lot of different players. This team, I believe, is going to be the definition of hyper offense. Now, I do have a couple cool texts with this team that I have not shown here simply because I do not want it to be public just yet. But as you can see here, it is a Dragonite Chan, Fluttermane, Chiyu, and Dondozo Tatsuguri team. This team is so hard to lead into, yeah? The leads that might be good into Power Knight might not be good into Flutterfish. Anything that can lead into both of those can't really deal with Dondozo. It is such a scary team where it is so hard to pick your lead into this team, and if you pick wrong, it's over, yeah? If you pick something that leads like really good into like a D-Knight, like for example, I love my Terra Steel Amoonguss into D-Knight Champow. If the opponent lead Flutterfish, you're done, yeah? You can't play. If they go Flutterfish, it's GG. Your Amoonguss can't play. Your Amoonguss has to swap out, which means something's eating a Dazzling Gleam in a Heat Wave. You don't want it. It's not fun. And then obviously those 2 cores are so good at breaking holes through teams that it allows the Dozo to come in late game and just sweep. But there's not much to say. I am so scared of this team. Yeah, like, again, I could think there's a couple interesting techs that you can, you know, a couple adjustments here and there that you could make to this team to make it super scary. Again, I'm gonna leave those out now because I'm personally not a massive Dondozo fan. I'll play it because it's good, but yeah, I'm super scared to see what people do with this this set of 6. But anyway, boys, with that being said, that is the last team we were going to go over here. Of course, please let me know how you go with these teams. I think they're all fantastic. I think they're going to all be great on ladder, and I'm super excited to see how you guys do with it. I'm also excited to see how I do with it. I do really want to try to get rank 1 this season. I've been playing a lot of Series 3 the last few months, so I am super excited to finally be able to play it on cart. And as always, guys, if you could, like, comment, subscribe. It means the world to me. But anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.